Imagine this. You've created a time machine. You go back in time. You walk down a dusty street, approach a young man who hasn't yet started a family, and in a drastic act, you eliminate him. That young man was your grandfather. Now the question is inevitable. If he dies, how were you born to kill him? Welcome to Universe, the place where the boundaries of time, space, and logic blur. Today, we explore one of the most disturbing dilemmas of all time, the grandfather paradox. The grandfather paradox isn't just a mind game. It's a philosophical conundrum that tests our ideas about time, cause, and effect. Imagine you travel back in time, and for some reason, decide to eliminate your grandfather before he meets your grandmother. If he dies, then your parents won't be born, and neither will you. But if you don't exist, then you couldn't travel back in time, so your grandfather didn't die. So you're born, and you kill him. And we start over. It's a loop, a cycle with no way out, an existential contradiction. What makes it so powerful isn't just the moral dilemma or the familial entanglement, but it directly attacks our notions of how time works. We live convinced that the past is already written, that it can't be changed. But if you had the chance to change it, would you do it? And what would the consequences be? One of the most fascinating explanations is the existence of parallel timelines. According to this idea, by traveling to the past and modifying it, you're not altering your own timeline, but creating a new one. In that new reality, your grandfather dies before having children, and you never exist in that universe. But you come from another, the one where he was born in, and that's why you were able to travel. Another option is that the universe simply wouldn't allow it. Somehow, reality would adjust to avoid the contradiction. The gun jams. You stumble before the shot. The grandfather is saved by chance. Everything conspires to prevent you from changing what has already happened. And a third possibility, perhaps the most disconcerting, is that travel to the past is, in itself, impossible. Because if it were possible, these kinds of paradoxes would destroy any logical coherence of the universe. But the grandfather paradox isn't just a story to entertain us. It's a mirror that forces us to consider free will, the inevitability of fate, and whether we are masters of our own decisions or just cogs in a cosmic machine that's already programmed. What if, instead of traveling to the past, we could observe it? What if everything we do already was, already is, and already will be? Time, instead of flowing like a river, would be like an open book where every page is already written, even the ones we haven't yet read. The grandfather paradox has many versions. Some people imagine what would happen if they went back to prevent a war, or to kill a dictator before he rose to power. Would you be a hero? Or would you simply cease to exist for having changed the conditions that created your world? There are also those who wonder if time can defend itself. If there are natural laws, not yet understood, that protect the structure of time like a fabric that cannot be torn, only bent. But what if the grandfather paradox weren't a warning, but a clue? What if its existence were telling us that we misunderstand time? Perhaps the problem isn't what we do in the past, but how we conceive it. Some physicists propose that time isn't linear, but a simultaneous whole. Past, present, and future coexist, like different coordinates on a map. In that model, what we call the past isn't a place we can visit, but a fixed part of a larger, unchanging structure. Others go further and suggest that the observer is key, that time doesn't exist without consciousness, as if every attempt to change the past is, in fact, a reflection of our need to control a history that perhaps isn't ours to rewrite. And let's not forget the concept of the universal building block, an idea that all events in the universe, from the Big Bang to your next thought, are already contained within a building block of reality that simply is. From this perspective, there is no change and no choice, just perception. Even quantum mechanics has something to say. In the subatomic world, particles can influence each other instantaneously, regardless of distance. Some interpretations suggest that time itself may not be fundamental, but an emergent illusion. If this is true, time travel could simply be leaps in a much deeper system, where before and after don't mean the same thing. Imagine that you are not a traveler crossing a road, but a needle jumping between pages of a book. You don't change history, you only change the order in which you read it. And yet, we continue to wonder, can something that already happened stop happening? Or are we simply trapped in an illusion of control over a narrative that has already been written? Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't time itself, but our obsession with mastering it. Because in the end, the grandfather paradox could be telling us that the universe doesn't contradict itself. It's just us who don't yet understand it. Time travel remains, for now, the realm of science fiction. But the questions it raises are as real as our doubts about the past and the future. Can we change what has already happened? Or are we simply actors following a pre-written script? The truth is that, as long as we don't have a definitive answer, the grandfather paradox will continue to challenge scientists, philosophers, and dreamers like you. Thank you for exploring this mystery with us. If you like enigmas that defy the logic of the universe, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, because next Thursday we'll dive into another disturbing idea. We'll tell you how you could just be a brain floating in the void, with false memories, and a life that was never real. You won't want to miss it. This was Universe, where the mystery begins just when you think you've got it all figured out.